Hi, my name is Trinaya, and this is my Module 12 Padlet discussion. And this is the initial post. So, for the first part, sit down, baby. For the first part, it was asking personal. It says discuss a time when meaning making or reframing coping strategies have been used by someone you know, and explain and give a personal example. So my personal example would definitely be me, especially when it comes to reframing from doing things. And that really comes from me being a young mom and like balancing school responsibilities and stuff. And I tend to feel very overwhelmed and stressed, and like something isn't gonna work or anything like that. And I refrain from feeling that way by seeing like the end goal, and knowing that it's the purpose and like everything that I'm doing right now, and like it's gonna be a better future for my babies and stuff like that. Reminding myself I'm doing this for my kids and stuff. And I seen it as growth instead of stress, and like being proud that I'm working towards something instead of just sitting on my butt and not doing anything. So, and that just helped me just cope with the whole fact of like it's all gonna be over soon. Like it's not gonna last always. And then the second part, it says pick 2 videos and share one specific thing in each one that caught your attention and why. And make sure to tell which video you're referencing. So the first video was why domestic violence victims don't leave. Personally, I do have a friend right now that is in, well, I'm not gonna say in an abusive relationship, but like he has put his hands on her multiple times, and like she just doesn't leave. And she always says like, that's where she's comfortable and everything else. But I think she doesn't want to leave because like, yes, she is comfortable, but no telling like what he might say or do. Or I don't think she likes the fact of like him being with somebody. They can't cope with the fact of each other being with other people. So anyways, pertaining to the why domestic violence victims don't leave by Leslie Morgan Steiner, what I got from that was that domestic violence victims stay out of fear. And out of fear and manipulation and emotional attachment. That's exactly what is going on in her situation. And I just hope at some point, but you can never just speak on that. This definitely made me think a little bit more about her situation, because I know somebody firsthand going through this type of thing, and like seeing the bruises and the busted lips and the eyes and everything. And they have a kid together as well, so I feel like that's another reason why she feels like she needs to stay, which I hurt for her. But also it made me realize that a lot of people judge victims without understanding why they are the way they are. And I feel like you're not really ever going to understand why somebody is the way they are until you're in their shoes. So that, that's just the importance of support instead of blame, and just supporting them and just being there for them, and just whether they choose to stay or leave, hopefully they leave eventually. But if, they stay, just supporting them. So the second video I chose was how childhood trauma affects health across a lifetime, by Nadine Harris or whatever. I personally chose this video because I feel like my childhood trauma kind of affected my health, and with the mainly mental health, of course. I just feel like trauma just affected in all types of ways, and things that you may go through as a child or whatever. And it shows how important childhood development is, especially early child development. That's why my main focus, hopefully when I graduate, will be to get a job dealing with children, because of how much I see it affect me in everyday life. And I didn't even realize it until I had a kid, and I realized how much trauma there was there, and how much the different bad I had and I'm trying to break and grow out of so that I don't pass it on to my babies. And just being intentional. So like, yeah, you know, this video, you know, show me that it does impact people in their adulthood, you know, connects to family crisis and things like traumatic things you may go through in your childhood and stuff. So yeah, those are my 2 videos and my reframing mechanism.